Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Nonprofit Hug, the only hug dedicated for nonprofits and impact organizations. I'm Stjepan. Uh, this with me is Martin and Dan. Dan is our Slack community helper, and we will cover that in a second. But basically, for the first hug, we want to just kick it off with what you have at your disposal in HubSpot as your go-to platform. And we picked a couple of tools that we think nonprofits can use to save time, to be more efficient, and to also have better engagements with your donors, constituents, volunteers, and everybody that's uh, connected to your organization. So we will cover AI-powered tools, what's on the roadmap also, but also how to use it. So yeah, you can go to the next slide, Martin. And basically, if you, we invite you to join our Slack nonprofit hub community. So as I mentioned, Dan is our community helper. So you can scan the code here, or you can just like after this message us in the hug community from HubSpot. We share resources, stories, we collaborate, we try to help other uh, community members there. No matter what's your HubSpot experience, you will find real help from people who want to make a difference. So I worked in nonprofit for a couple of years. I brought Giving Tuesday to my country, Croatia. Dan is also involved in nonprofits and marketing. So we are here to, we know how tough it can be. So that's why we built this community. And one of our mission is to have a meetup at this year's Inbound for nonprofits. And we are pushing to that. So as much as people can join, we will have more impact. So let's go to the next slide. And today's agenda, we covered welcome and introductions. So we will go through our new features and how to use them, and then what's coming next. And I hopefully we will leave 10 to 15 minutes for Q&A and open discussion. As you mentioned at the beginning, HubSpot switch platforms. So for you who are new, we used to use a platform called Bevy. Nowadays, we just use Hybrid, but we have this hosted on Google Meet. Probably the next time we'll be hosting it on Zoom. But let us know, what do you prefer, what do you like, and what discussions you want us to start, because Dan is here and he can start that in our Slack channel. Okay, so over to you, Martin.
Yeah, with that said, let's go right into it. So what we did is we put together some of the updates that have been rolled out in the last few weeks, months, as some of the most important ones in our opinion, right? Things that we want to call some attention to. That we just want to talk through how exactly they work, how they could work within a nonprofits industry as well, and then let's see if we can just pull up some examples. We're a small group today, so I would also say, put up, raise a hand if you have any questions. We can make this a bit more interactive while I'm letting someone else here in the group. Cool. So the first one that we wanted to call some attention to, right, is the Breeze Assistant. Now, the Breeze Assistant, in and of itself, not that new, right? It's been there for a little bit, but it is continuously getting more and more refined. This is one of those things that when it first came out, at least from my end, when I was talking with clients, was always advising folks, take it with a grain of salt, right? You can use it, can give you some additional insights, but don't overly rely on it. It's definitely made some improvements there in that it's gotten a lot more contextual thinking down, where it looks at the question you're asking and gives you some valuable input. And we'll go through a quick example in a second, but the general way we can start using this more now is for things like marketing analytics, where before the insights could be at times a bit superficial. The assistant now kind of works with you, and if you ask it a question on specific campaign performances, page performances, it'll nuance its answers a lot more. So I pulled up a quick example here just to showcase this, where I went into our demo portal. I'm going to my reports, and I'm asking a pretty typical question: what are my top converting pages? And so a typical response you'll get here is, here are your top converting pages. Now, where it's kind of upgraded and gone to the next level is that nuance where essentially it says, hey, by the way, I'm looking at contacts per page view. A lot of these only have very limited page views. This doesn't really tell the whole story. Make some suggestions on better ways to interpret it. So it just makes this whole AI assistant a lot more interactive, a lot more user friendly, in my opinion as well. And a stage where you can actually rely on it a bit more. So I don't know how many of you all use the assistant on a daily basis. I know I went from barely using it to at this point it's become a daily part of the HubSpot usage. Yeah, let me know. You can drop it in the chat or just raise your hand. But I'm also just curious if other people have noticed that improvement there, just in that contextual understanding of the Breeze AI assistant. Couple other things to point out there, right? So the analytics there is a bit more contextual. Persona awareness has improved as well, right? So you're setting up your personas in HubSpot. It understands those audience segments more, and so it can tailor those recommendations, right? So if you have 2 or 3 different core audiences, let's say you have supporters and donors and grantees, etc., it'll understand what each of those are and what metrics make sense to analyze for each. So all of that just to say the contextual responses have just improved quite a bit. Quick pause on that. Have people noticed that? I'm just curious. How many people are using Breeze Assistant on a regular basis? You throw like a thumbs up or any emoji really if you're using it, or if you're not really using it as much. See Mateo's using it. Yeah. Interesting. But yeah, curious to hear if you guys have more feedback on that. Cool. Going to another update. This is one of those small ones, but for some of the more marketing ops, rev ops folks like me, sometimes these small changes that open up tons of doors. And so this is a cool one that we wanted to highlight. So the conditional scoring with and logic sounds super boring when you say it like that, but it is actually quite impactful in my opinion. Very simple. It just simply means that instead of for individual items that you score, like you typically would, a page view, a click, etc., you can create these combination of actions that need to be taken. Not necessarily actions, could also be fit scores, right? And firmographic information. Essentially putting a combination together and only scoring if all of those individual items are met. So in that example, here it's and not just the click on an email, but also if the original URL is X, if the location state of that contact is New York, only then would I want to score it. So this is a very interesting one that we've been playing around with, and it opens up the lead scoring quite a bit. There's a lot of these more granular scoring segments that were hard to create with the old system that this opens up. So yeah, laid out there as well, makes it a bit more flexible, more smarter prioritization, right? For sure. And the general gist of it, or what exactly it is, it's multi-condition rule. So it's a small one. I'm quite excited about it, and I feel like it opens up quite a bit. Stjepan, you have something to add to that?
Yeah, just a quick add is like it's called the lead score in HubSpot, but think about it like a donor score. That can also be like a volunteer score, or maybe like if you want to have a leader in a community, it can be a leader score. So you can set the logic and say, okay, they read a couple of blog pages, they downloaded this content from our website, they're also reading everything that we post. That's a clear indication that they're fit for this organization. Let's build a workflow or a journey for them to get more information, to get our message out to the community. The same can be for donors. So like if you have dedicated landing pages, whatever for donors, you can score it on that. Based on that score, you can probably use HubSpot payments or maybe a fundraiser up to like build something to like next time ask for more money for the donation based on the score that they have, because you're confident they want to add to your organization. So there's a variety of things. So just wanted to add that.
Yeah, no, 100%. And the last one on that, right? Because there's a very good call out, I think, in general with HubSpot terminology. It doesn't always fit the nonprofit jargon, let's say, but that is a good one to keep in mind. These lead scores are useful in a lot of scenarios. The last thing I would just say here is what this helps avoid, and I don't know how many of you run into this, is you'll always have these one-offs, supporters, contacts that come through that go through a certain automation that they shouldn't because they meet a lead score. And then when you look into it, it's something silly like, oh yeah, well, we score them because they clicked on an email, but that's not actually an email. That's a transactional confirmation that they got. Like that shouldn't actually count. Or, oh, actually they're based in the location that we're scoring high, and that's why they're coming through. And so you have like these one-offs that we can now easily filter out and say, hey, only score them if multiple criteria are met. Just makes the lead scoring a lot cleaner moving forward. So definitely a cool one to call out. Just to reiterate here on how to get to that, that hasn't actually changed, right, on where you would go ahead and find the lead scoring. It's just once you have this activated, you'll have that and feature built right in there. So it's one of those things that there's not a new flashy call to action to access it. It's just there. You can just start using it. Cool. Going back to a bit more of the AI-based updates, right? So customer agent, same thing here. I don't know how many folks are using customer agent. We don't want to focus on it too much if folks aren't using it here too much, but this is definitely a powerful tool that has only gotten more powerful in the last few months. And so the idea here is you're able to engage folks coming on your website in an automated way, right? In an AI-backed way. So you feed it input, and it's able to qualify, redirect, reassign, whatever needs to happen, ask follow-up questions, etc., without any human intervention needed there. That always sounds scary when I say without human intervention. When talking about AI, like they're coming to replace us all, but you get the idea. A couple of things to call out there on customer agent that are quite interesting. So when you go to the actual customer agent setup here, and you'll see here we don't actually have one set up just yet, but in the manage tab, a couple of cool things. One is the guidelines beta that we can look to activate. So general idea here is providing an input from a tone style perspective, right? So definitely, if you are looking to set up a customer agent, we definitely recommend that you make use of this. Specifically the tone, the style, but more specifically the guardrails, right? Ways that you want to talk about your organization, phrases that should be avoided, etc. Making sure that it has enough of this information so that you're not ending up with, strange conversations that you then afterwards have to jump into manually. So making use of those guidelines section here, quite important. Another one that I'm personally a fan of as well is just testing it. So again, when you set up a customer agent, you can pull it up here. You can ask it a simple question. What do you do? Let's ask that. And then it will respond like it would to any of your visitors, but it'll also give you a quick layout here of what may have been missing. In this case, there's a knowledge gap. You saw this one, this agent wasn't set up with much input at all. So definitely there's going to have a knowledge gap, but it's just a very interactive way of being able to test your agent with real life scenarios. You can drop into questions, see what the responses would be, and what gets flagged as potential insights, potential gaps that you might want to cover. Stjepan?
Yeah, and like we said at the beginning, it's called a customer agent, but think about it as a donor agent, volunteer agent, grant agent, anything that you want to manage from your front office, like website or pages. You can feed information to it, you can train it, you can build an identity for it, you can add more guidelines, and I think we mentioned that on the slide, how we envision nonprofits using that tool inside HubSpot.
Yeah, 100%. Oh yeah, Matea, jump on in.
Hi, sorry, the chat's disabled. I was going to send it there, but I can't. Which is fine. I'll just come off mute. But I was just curious how you would recommend, now there's a 28-day trial for the customer agent. Like, how would we get started with that as a nonprofit? Like, what would you recommend starting with throughout that trial period?
So what we'd recommend setting up within those 28 days? I'll let you speak to this, but just want to make sure I understand it.
Yeah, just like getting, basically that's the time to like explore it and see how it works and if it's something that would work best for us.
Yeah. Stjepan, did you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, so I think like where I will start, I will talk to the my team and an organization, like what do we want to manage with the agent. So probably maybe a donor, like managing donors, set up like a donor agent, and also like if we are very high on like volunteer management, you can set up a volunteer agent and see how it can save time, guide them, send a couple of things. I know you can also do, I think this is a new one, like channel settings. Martin, if you can show the email. So like what we can do in the email is like the agent can respond to an email. So it can forward reply to only one person, it can reply to many. So think about like somebody sending like a donor sending an email or like let's say organization that is like giving grants or something, you can easily set it up in that way. You can build guidelines around it. So I would say talk to the team, explore a little bit, and but also invite everybody to join our Slack community, because if you are trying to use it, ask us. We can maybe build like a little journey with you, see what you have, look about like what's the core that you want to solve, and
Yep.
help you. So there's our multiple things that you can do with this tool, and I think it's very powerful. Just for a second, like you can connect channels, inbox messages. A lot of things can be added to
Yeah.
this agent.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And the customer agent is one of those things that it's still fairly new and people are kind of playing around with this. So it's definitely one that you want to test in public as much as possible, get opinions on. Last thing I would just say to that is when you are setting it up within that trial as well, is pull together every kind of information you may already have, because there's a lot of assets that you can push into it to provide an initial context. Doesn't have to be knowledge base articles or pages. Even if you just have standard files that you can upload, collecting all of that and pushing it in there, kind of a fast track the setup here. So just something to keep in mind as well, that there's a lot you can push into it before you go into the details of, hey, my identity, my guidelines, etc. You know, give yourself a head start by just pushing in what you already have. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. So with that one, we'll move on to a quick one, really. This is more of a nice to have, I guess something just to call out, is HubSpot Chrome extension now supporting calling directly. So pretty easy switch. You don't need to go to a different tab anymore. You open up you can kind of see it here. It's not fully showing, right? But from the Chrome extension itself, you simply enable the calling, one click, no more tab switching, and it automatically logs the activity as it was doing before as well. So just want to call out if you are actually using the HubSpot calls, make sure to activate the feature. Just makes life a bit easier. So that's just a quick one. And with that said, Stjepan, I'm going to hand it over to you so we can demo some of the changes over in the data agent. For that, I will also just stop sharing my screen for a second so you can pick right up.
Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, let's continue with the data agent. Like that's one of my favorite because of a lot of data, and we here at Nonprofit Tech Shop also a lot of data. And the new one that I tested is the web research for contacts, and I will demo that in a second. But basically, is it can automate your web research directly within workflows. You can enrich your CRM data with insights like analysis of your contact, like constituents, households, and more. You can learn more about the news around those individuals, or maybe like if you're working with other organizations, you can see their like news impacting them. So for example, it can automate qualification of your donors. You can save manual research time with it, and it works by prompting within directly inside HubSpot. You can analyze public web data, company like organization records, and even call transcripts with the data agent. But the web research is also one that I wanted to flag. And as you can see, is like why it matters to nonprofits. Like you imagine you're walking into major donor meeting, fully briefed with recent like roles, news mentions, anything that happened, and you're ready to connect and build on top of that. So let me go and show you how it looks. So basically, I have everything pre-open, so we save time loading, but you will just go to the data management tab and go to data agent. It can be overwhelming because there's a lot here, but like you, as always in HubSpot, everything is built simple. So you have like a tabs or overview, you have a prompt library that HubSpot already created, so it helps you and you can learn from it how to prompt it correctly. And then there's like a manage tab. But I just want to show you that like the web research, you can just click on it, see like examples. And I know it's a different lingo or jargon. It's like BDR, so like business development representative. But think about data agent can work with a donor manager. It can work with a like a anybody community manager. It can work with them for your organization. So we cannot rename this, but I want you to think in that way because HubSpot is a platform for nonprofits, and we know that because we're doing a lot with them. And yeah, then there's data agent quick actions for your CRM. This is just like something where you can see who is the champion of this organization you're talking to. If you need to, you can just create a smart property. It will pull all activities, summarize everything, and help you identify the right one. And then you can also create a smart properties directly from here. But if we go to the prompt library and we go to the web research one, you will see like what we can use the prompt directly, and it will ask us a couple of questions. Also, for example, if we want to do like the founders of a specific organization, we can just use this prompt. We can edit the types, we can edit the labels, and we can select a record from our directly from our CRM. So, and then just do it. So it's very easy, it's very efficient. I invite you to use it. Put in the chat pane, are you using this? What do you think about it right now? And hopefully we see you in Slack and we can learn and we can do more insights about it. But yeah, Martin, go ahead.
Yeah, just to add to that, and so first of all, apparently the chat is disabled, it seemed, for some folks. So if you're not able to, feel free to just raise your hand and chat that way. The other thing I just wanted to call out on that is, so in that prompt that Stjepan has opened there as well, is the way it would work from there is you run the prompt, it collects the information, and it can then either push it into a property or not. The not is also important, meaning you don't necessarily need to be creating a bunch of properties and start having messy data living all over the place. This can also be used as a, hey, I'm going into a a grant meeting tomorrow. I just want to get all the relevant information in front of me, pull it up, right? You don't need to be pushing it into properties if you don't want to, or if you're unsure where things should live. But you can still use those prompts, get that information, etc. So just wanted to call that out, especially if you're in a portal where you're unsure where information should live and where it should get pushed to. If you want to just pull up the information without actually affecting some of the existing properties, you can do that. It would be in the very next step there. You'd have the option to say, do you just want to view this, or do you want to actually push this summary into a property? So just calling that one out.
Yeah, yeah, and then it also uses HubSpot credits, but you can always manage that and just like think about it, like, is it beneficial to use it or not? But I encourage you to try to test it out. So let's go to the next one, and the next one is the prompt-based custom assistant builder, and I really love that because if you think about it, it's a one step above any other CRM that I'm like learning about, because like HubSpot now allows you to, without coding, without like any development skills, build your own Breeze AI assistant. They rolled out probably 30 new assistants in the last week or so, but then stepping one step further is like you build your own assistant. And what does that means for nonprofits? Like I'm thinking in grant writing assistant. I'm thinking about donor acknowledgement assistant, where you can personalize thank you letters at scale, pulling gift details and relationship history with it. I'm thinking about volunteer onboarding assistance, where you can build that one to answer frequently asked questions, collect preferences from your volunteers, routes new volunteers to the right programs, and more. So that's something that's like very powerful. You can use it. You build it for your organization. Uh, so yeah, so no zero technical setup. And let me show you where to find it, because it's a little hidden, but it's very easy to use it. So first, if you have access to Breeze Assistant, probably everybody has. You can go to the overview and then open a Breeze Assistant, and then you will see this. But I encourage you to go to the portal and just clicking Assistant. This pane will open, and then if you hover over it, it will say Add Assistant, and this is a custom assistant. So choose what it knows, how it helps, and who can use it. So when I click on it, you will see this is my custom assistant. So I can give my assistant a name. I can say volunteer assistant. Yeah. And I can then guide how this assistant behaves. So I can do a welcome message if I need to. I can do assistant instructions, and with that you can define how assistant should do and how it should interact with users. I also think that you can probably use, like if you're on Google Workspace, you can use Gemini. Maybe you have like Claude or GPT, and then ask it to build that instructions for you, or maybe use HubSpot also to build the instructions for you. And then you can also add conversation starters, and then here you can set the information this assistant can access. So do you want to give this assistant ability to browse the internet, like the web? Do you want this assistant ability to read your HubSpot CRM card records? So for example, if you have a program object and you have all your programs, it will then, as a volunteer assistant, be able to read through those programs and maybe answer questions for your volunteers. That's how I envision this one. And yeah, this is how it will look. You can easily publish and unpublish. You can clone it, maybe change it, tweak it a little bit, and it can be ready for something else. Maybe it's a board assistant, or for your like board members, where they can just easily talk to the assistant and get the information they need on let's say a restricted web page or a landing page that you build in HubSpot CMS. So there's endless possibilities how you can use this. Just like let us know, or like think about it. And if you're not sure, Dan, our community helper, and me and Maarten we are always here to help. And yeah, any thoughts about the assistant? How like easy it is to set up, how you use it? Like anybody wants to go on microphone to maybe say how you vision using it, or just put it in the chat pane? Or maybe it's like I'm overwhelming people. But yeah, we'll probably do a couple of content around this and how we think nonprofits should use it. But basically, yeah, this is something new that I really love. And you can use it like on a small scale, a larger scale, whatever you think about. Okay, so moving from the custom assistant builder to HubSpot links previews in Slack. So we wanted to surface this because a lot of nonprofits probably use Slack as their like internal communication tool. So this new, just like a public beta update, is that when you grab a link to your any like object, like a donation, I don't know, donor, contact, constituent, or maybe like I don't know, an inquiry, and put it in Slack, it will auto expand, and you will see more information. Why I think it matters to nonprofits? Because you can keep your development program teams aligned on donor and partner records without ever leaving Slack. So I know like there are small teams, there are bigger teams. So just dropping a link there, they will see everything. And then there's also a button where you can like summarize the donation with using Breeze. So if like, let's say there's a big donation that come into the organization. Okay, let me learn more about it. So maybe that's something to think about. when you're like maybe sharing that to a specific channel for like a donation manager channel or something in those lines. But a small update from HubSpot, I would say, but like a big win for everybody using Slack. So yeah, try it out. Let us know what you think. And then let's go to the next one. So HubSpot has a marketplace. Probably everybody here knows that, where you can natively just connect apps. And in the last like a month or so, I think we counted like 76 plus new apps, just like January, maybe mid-February, and that's a lot. That's a lot to manage with all the product updates and everything. And maybe you're using some, maybe you're like you want to test new ones, but you don't know where to start. So I picked just two, but I will show you where you can find the rest before we go and I demo you how I envision nonprofits using Claude AI connector. So I picked Claude AI connector because I think currently it's the most powerful AI connector with HubSpot. It's the only one that can read everything, like engagements, activities. It can update and it can create. Gemini cannot do all of it, and ChatGPT cannot also do that. I did a admin hug where I talked about AI connectors. So if you're interested, you can search that on the admin hub from HubSpot. And then I picked the script. Why I picked the script? Because I think it easily connects video and podcast content directly. And you can send it, you can see engagements, you can build reports and more around it. So you can connect your donor workflows with like sending video out, and you can do even more. And then if there's a smaller team, you can use Claude to analyze a lot of the information. And I will demo that in a second, but let's just first go to the HubSpot marketplace. So basically, how do you get to the marketplace? Once you log into HubSpot, you click this like a little marketplace icon, and then you see this screen. And it can be overwhelming because like if you go here, there's a lot of apps. Everything is like like you can just click on it, see more. But then what we discovered is that this little screen at the top is pretty easy to like use it, because probably everybody use Canva, but like if you go one slide further, you can explore collections, and that's like personalized recommendations and seamless integrations that you can use. So if you click on this, it will open a collections tabs where you can view collections based off certain criteria. So if you want to see all apps that work with application objects, if you want to see all apps that are like good with workflow integrations, you can easily see some of them if you hover. So you can see Send, you can see Slack and more. Recently updated apps. So if you're thinking about like what's recently been updated, what's new, you can also see that collection. If you want to learn more about Breeze Assistants and how it works with like Google Workspace or Microsoft, you can do that here. So without further ado, I think this is very powerful to like look at the marketplace from the collections lens rather than just scroll, but you can always also search. So I mentioned I want to go and show you more about how I envision nonprofits using Claude AI, so Anthropic Claude, just so everybody's on the line. So basically, if you can see here in the demo portal that we have, I just created a couple of, like I created a grant pipeline. I put a couple of grants here. I associated them with like contacts, maybe some organizations. And basically, I want to show you what Claude can do. So I'm in my Claude, and the way that I use it, I can easily connect it, just go to settings and connections and find HubSpot and connect it. But then I can just type slash HubSpot, so it knows that it's browsing HubSpot. And I ask it, can you summarize my grants pipeline? I'm not even writing like correct English at this point, but it will know. Like LLMs are good with that. So as you can see, it made a summary. It found for the I didn't say give me a total, but it did give me a total. It's like all the, like how I name it, the amounts, what's the date, and then if I click here view, it will open directly inside HubSpot. So if I click here, it will immediately open this grant for me. So I will see this grant immediately. So like think about it, like you're in Claude, but you can just access HubSpot whatever you need to. So you can see total value across 4 grants. This one is the largest. I also didn't ask it what's the largest grant, and it already gave me that. So think about like building a skill on top of this, so it knows how to browse HubSpot, like your CRM. It's probably powerful, like building a skill for like a board member skill where they ask and you know what they're searching always. It's like just like a quick win for that. So can you give me a summary of all contacts associated with this grant? Yes, there's one contact associated. And what's good is like here you see what they searched. So if you expand here, you will see how Claude did the search. So if I click here, hopefully, you will see it's searching CRM objects. It got one result. And then it says, this is one contact associated with this grant. The name is Kimberly Kennedy. Email is here. Lifecycle stage. I didn't ask it that. It already gave me. And then I can also open and see that record. And it also said no phone or job title. Would you like to update her record? Would you like to find any notes, activities on this contact or anything else? So I ask it, is there any activity logged? And you can see here, it went to search CRM objects, and it says, it looks like there is no activity, no notes, calls, emails, meetings, tasks. Would you like to log some activity? I say no, but based on what you know about the grant and Kimberly, what outreach would you suggest? And this is the situation. It already give me the full situation. This is the largest grant in the pipeline. The close date was this. Kimberly is listed as a customer, but no zero activity logged. No phone number or job title, only a personal iCloud email. So suggested outreach is re-engagement email, since there's no prior contact logged. So a warm checking is the safest move. Kimberly role, it even goes a layer deeper and says a personal eCloud address suggests she may not be the primary institutional contact. So probably think about that when you're doing an outreach. Maybe update the record and log a follow-up task. So would you like me to create a task in HubSpot to hold yourself accountable? So would you like to also help me with draft and outreach? So I said, no, let's create a follow-up task and assign it to Stjepan with the due date next week. And then it has this, it will say, here's what I will create. Please confirm before I proceed. So it says a task subject assigned to Stjepan, due date in a week. So that's 7 days from now. That's March 10th. Associated contact, associated grant. And then do you want to approve? And if I click approve, I just need to type yes and click here. It will go and do its magic and it will create that task. One thing to note, when you're doing the connector, you can say to connector, do you give it ability to create and write to HubSpot? If you do that, you can then also set it up. You want to allow it without asking you yes or no, or you want to have it asking you stuff. So if you go here, always allow or allow once, you can decide what you want to do. So I will just do allow once. And as you can see, it will then do its thing. And task has been created. Here's a summary. You can view the task. It will already give me a link. And that's it. So I'm done with what I need to do using the Claude AI connector. So yeah, just wanted to show you how easy it is. You can do whatever. You can analyze data. You can analyze donors. Maybe if you have a lot of donors in your CRM, Claude can help you surface the ones that probably are the most engaged or the least engaged that you want to enroll in some kind of like a workflow journey. So yeah, let us know in the chat pane what you think about that. And I think at this point, I need to unshare and send it to Maarten. So.
Oh, you keep shit. Well, okay. was going to say you can keep
Oh,
chatting,
sorry.
but
Sorry,
either way,
I can keep sharing.
I got it.
Yeah. Okay.
I got it. So yeah, no, I think the last one's an important one just because ChatGPT was the first one to connect with HubSpot, but Claude's connector really does take it to another level, right? Because you're really able to actually talk with HubSpot like a normal person, and like Stjepan mentioned, it shows it's able to do tasks the way you describe it to. So anyway, definitely recommend playing around with that. And then, as you mentioned, there's like 76 other apps that are connected. So there's a lot to call out, but that one does stand out. So if you do have Claude, you got HubSpot, connect them. It's really match made in heaven. So with that said, just to kind of round us off, in terms of what else is still on the roadmap, I guess this is more of a comforting thought, I guess, is that with all these new features, with all these new naming conventions, even for folks like us who are in HubSpot every single day, you get lost at times. So what was this called again? Is this under the data agent, the data studio? Where does this live? A couple of things that HubSpot is doing, which I'm quite excited about, is to address exactly that. So to make it more user friendly, semantic search is one of those, like searching based off of human language. I think it's a big plus. So right, if you don't have the exact terminology down, you're searching for it the same way your large search engines would work. HubSpot would operate the same way, so that's great. User adoption dashboards, so kind of along those same lines, right? Onboarding folks to HubSpot now that HubSpot is becoming more vast and more features, etc. Having a dashboard as an admin or as a manager or as whoever to make sure that your team is using features, and if they're struggling somewhere, being able to visualize all of that, that'll be a nice addition as well. And then kind of along that, on that same note, these custom notes, really it's more of like an onboarding guidance that you can start setting up. So for new people coming into your portal, you want to essentially set them on their way with specific actions to take, give them some specific instructions when they're on a contact or on a household or on a grant deal, whatever it may be, what to look at, where to find it. You can add these customized notes there. So cool to see HubSpot is putting a lot of emphasis on that. So some of the upcoming highlights, some of the upcoming changes should be related to that. Cool. We kind of mentioned the key takeaways, so I would just round it off with that. We'll send over a lot of the links that we did talk through in our Slack channel. If you haven't joined it yet, feel free. You can scan it right here. And yeah, I think obviously mentioned it here as well. Reach out to Stjepan, myself, Dan, anyone really over at Digital Reach. Find us in the Slack channel. See if there's questions there. Want to make sure, I know we're a small group at this point within the new format, but if there are any questions, raise a quick hand. Happy to chat through them. And otherwise, Stjepan, do you have any closing remarks here?
Yeah, just surfacing the resources. So we are building, and we have a ton of resources that like quick guides, video guides, ebooks, whatever is your like cup of tea to learn stuff, how to use HubSpot as a platform. So maybe you can just go over a couple of them, Maarten. But yeah, and we are building more and more. So as you can see here, we have a museum hub. Like we have a full solution for museums. We have a ticketing system. There's a lot of things like how to build a donor journey, volunteer engagement, and like those are just quick guides that you can easily download. Then we have video guides. If you go to the next one, so there's like you will see Dan, you will see Karen, you will see me, Maarten. We're just like whatever comes to our Slack, whatever comes to like any other socials where we are engaged, we want to provide as much value as we can, building that. Pretty easy, like 2 to 5 minute format, and then a lot of ebooks. And we encourage you to join the Slack and let us know any of your potholes, or also share like any quick wins. And if we help anybody with any of the content that we're creating, we will be very happy. But yeah, any questions, anything that you want to talk through? We still have, I think, 12-30 minutes. As Martin said, we're a smaller group, so just let us know. We're here.
I think some folks had to leave a little early, but it's us still, and we got the recording. So, yeah, this is good stuff.
Cool. All right, cool.
No other questions for me.
Love it.
Thank you,
All right,
Mateo.
all good, Mateo. Thanks for that. Cool, guys. Then yeah, well, hope to see you at the next one. See you in the Slack channel. We'll share more resources there. Ask questions. If you're playing around with any of these features, let us know. We are always interested to kind of play around with these features alongside you. So yeah, keep us posted. Cool. With that said, have a good one, guys. Have a good rest of the day. Have a good rest of the week. Talk to you all soon. Bye all.
Bye-bye.